Good evening and welcome to Undaunted, bringing into the news untold stories. I am Star Smart. Let's begin. Well, tonight, with unwavering resolve, we delve into the misrepresentations in human rights reports, exploring the stark contrast between Boko Haram's acts of terrorism versus the Amazonian liberation movement. Well, tragically, more than 3.4 million people have fallen victim in both Cameroons, an underestimation that underscores the gravity of the situation. The humanitarian crisis in the Cameroons is rapidly escalating. Unfortunately, the figures are grossly underestimated and poorly reported by the human rights organizations. According to most recent reports from the UNFPA, over 3.4 million people grapple with the dire consequences of ongoing conflict in the two Cameroons. Then you wonder why the distortion of fact and calculated instrumentalization of information gotten from the battlefield. Well, it is important for us to state that the unrest unfolds into distinct theaters. The northern regions of La République du Cameroon, where state forces clash with Boko Haram terrorists, and the strife between the French Cameroon's army of occupation battles with the Ambazonian freedom fighters, the Ambazonian State Army, in the struggle for Ambazonia's liberation. Despite these humanitarian crisis figures likely underrepresenting the true scale of distress, there's growing concern among Ambazonians about the unjust conflation of their liberation movement with the act of terrorism perpetrated by Boko Haram in human rights reports. Ambazonians are seriously vexed with that behavior, and most of them consider it an intentional conspiracy to enable the Franco-Cameroon hegemony in the nation of Ambazonia. This misrepresentation not only distorts the international community's perception, but also undermines the legitimate aspirations of Ambazonia for self-determination and freedom. The Amazonian movement is rooted in a quest for liberation from what they perceive as the oppressive occupation by French Cameroon. Well, we know that you cannot wait for our in-depth analysis about this, but then let's first get the prime headlines.
Here are the prime headlines for tonight. Toll gates were instituted initially to foster economic establishment, but they are used to manipulate and defraud Amazonians. A report that you would like tonight. Misrepresentation in Human Rights Report, Boko Haram Terrorism versus Amazonians Liberation Movement, with an underestimation of over 3.4 million people being victims in the two Cameroons. A man sentenced to 30 years in Kondengi prison for embezzling 347 million francs CFA has been found working quietly in Europe. Now, this goes to show how lawless and corrupt La Republic is. Also tonight, ADF aids La Republic to Cameroon in economic sabotage of Ambazonians, as Choayaba says, to reopen Guzang market after economic hostage. Meanwhile, in a colonial security evaluation meeting in Bamenda, General Buba has acknowledged that La Republic to Cameroon security, these positions in the northern zone of Ambazonia have been fragilized by the Ambazonian State Army. On the African scene, tension rises as French diplomats swiftly depart. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia and the UAE has refused to open airspace to Israeli and US aircraft during Iran attack. Now, let's get the news in full briefings. Humanitarian crisis deepens in the Cameroon as more than 3.4 million people suffer consequences amidst conflicts between French Cameroon army with Boko Haram in the northern regions of La Republic to Cameroon and the French Cameroon forces of occupation in Ambazonia with Ambazonian freedom fighters, the ASA, though the statistics is a gross underestimation of the actual number of Ambazonian warriors, while they too are reported indiscriminately. The recent human rights reports highlighted the severe and indiscriminate humanitarian crisis unfolding in the Cameroons as a consequence of the ongoing activities of Boko Haram terrorists in the northern regions and the conflicts between freedom fighters and occupying forces in La Republique du Cameroon in the southern Cameroons. The UNFPA reveals alarming figures with 3.4 million individuals, predominantly women and children, caught in the crossfire of these two distinct, I beg your pardon, but equally devastating conflicts. But Ambazonians feel it is a gross underestimation. The comparison of the insurgent activities to the Southern Cameroon struggle for independence has sparked considerable offense among the people of Southern Cameroon. The international community is called upon to recognize and respond to the complexity and scale of the Southern Cameroon's humanitarian plight in distinction of that of the northern regions of La Republique du Cameroon. Now, this is where we will begin the full briefing of Undaunted tonight. We apologize for coming a little bit behind schedule, but then just to let you know, Barrister Team Mbesier is in the house. How are you doing, sir?
Splendid, Onyi. Good evening, Ambazonians. Well, the way human rights reports have been made, you'll understand that national and international institutions that have the duty to accurately file in this report have mostly not given the chance to effectively do their investigations or have been manipulated. Well, we've had Amnesty International and other human rights organizations complain a couple of times that they find it difficult to collaborate with the French Cameroon's government to have effective human rights reports. Previously, La République's government had suspended the Médecins Sans Frontières, the Doctors Without Borders. Why would anyone do such if they're honest and have nothing to hide? Well, La République in the past went as far as using its military to intimidate staffs of the Doctors Without Borders to give them information that they were not professionally supposed to. It is even unfortunate to see how some of the reports that have been filed thus far of the Boko Haram terrorists in the far north of the Cameroons has been indiscriminately matched with Ambazonia.
Well, according to the Doctors Without Borders, to give out intelligent and private information about the hinterland, something that goes against their professional ethics. La Republique du Cameroon would rather use some of these human rights organizations to profile what is happening as terrorism or get intelligence from them to invade communities, which is a breach to international laws and the rights of the people. While according to the United Nations report, the Cameroons is facing prolonged armed conflicts in the far north region, where the terror group Boko Haram continues to attack soldiers and civilians, and in the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, where an eighth-year independent armed struggle is deteriorating every situation each present day, in addition to hosting many refugees from Nigeria and the Central African Republic. The UN, instead of providing long-lasting solutions, has forcing belligerent parties onto negotiating table to end the war instead of opting for humanitarian aid to the millions of casualties.
Well, Undaunted gathered that La République du Cameroon and the United Nations on Tuesday, April 16, 2024, launched a plan to address the urgent needs of 3.4 million of the most vulnerable people in this Central African country, the UN said during the launch. While the plan Undaunted ABC Amber News sources said requires some 371.4 million US dollars, down from 407.3 million last year, while in funding to help those suffering from violence, national disasters, climate shocks, and disease outbreaks, out of which women and children make up 77% of those in need of humanitarian assistance in the country, according to the United Nations report. Now, a renowned commitment from the entire humanitarian community and donors is urgent to meet vital humanitarian needs, said the United Nations humanitarian coordinator for the Cameroons, Koulibaly Siaki, who said this during the launch of the plan in Yaoundé, the capital of La République du Cameroon.
The Cameroons facing prolonged armed conflict in its far north region, where the terror group Boko Haram continues to attack soldiers and civilians, and in the neighboring southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, where an eighth-year ongoing war of independence that has claimed close to 60,000 lives rages on. La République is equally hosting many refugees from Nigeria and the Central African Republic. While Undaunted considers this a discriminate juxtaposition of the collateral humanitarian crisis of the northern part of the Cameroons and the war of Ambazonia is not taken calmly by Ambazonians, but the La Republic Cameroon government restricts the human rights report for many reasons, which includes to portray the freedom fighters of Ambazonians as terrorists.
Well, it is clear that every organization in the world recognizes the Boko Haram as a terrorist movement, but that no international organization has ever tagged the freedom fighters of Ambazonia as terrorists. But that is what La Republique has been striving to achieve, to undermine the self-determination struggle of Ambazonia. Not only does La Republique try to defame the true intent of the struggle for liberation, they as well manipulate the figures of lives lost, internally and externally displaced people, amongst many other forgeries in figures. Well, in order to limit the international intervention, to lead them to the negotiation table and give justice to Ambazonia, bringing this war to an end. All of this just in an attempt to do that. But that is the more reason why the government of Ambazonia, led by Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako, is leading the pace in diplomatic efforts internationally to bring the war closer to the eyes of the world. Oh, well, we have with us, like Onyi said, Barrister Tim Mbesia. Good evening, Barrister Team. I'm sure you heard that report. You want to do justice with a little bit of analysis from you. Good evening and welcome.
Yes, I heard the report, and I'd like to add my analysis. See, when you see the human rights report and what is going on in the so-called Cameroon with the two conflicts, Boko Haram and Ambazonia, you see, the regime, as you rightly put it there, has made it almost impossible for credible human rights organizations to report on what is going on between Ambazonia and them. And so they don't want the story covered. The disparities in the reporting are largely due to government restrictions. But why is government restricting this reporting? They don't want to divert from their narrative that everything is going back to normal. For them, they want the world to know that there's nothing happening, even in the core Ambazonia or Northwest Southwest battle. They don't want the world to know that. It's a negligible conflict which they think they can handle, and they are handling. The second aspect is giving publicity, the government giving publicity to what is going on in the Boko Haram. It is because Boko Haram fight brings in a lot of financial aid, brings in a lot of money from the Americans, from the French, whoever has an economic interest up there, to Yaoundé. They send money there. Remember that the American government had troops stationed up there. The troops that stationed up there were paid for. They were eating. A lot of money was being sent there. You see, give Cameroon government a lot of money to fight Boko Haram. And so that's an economic advantage to them. But what is Cameroon suffering from Boko Haram? If you understand Boko Haram very, very well, Boko Haram is not going around the north or or Grand North, shooting Cameroon military. They are not doing that. They are not shooting their tanks. They are going around harassing the local population, seizing their cows, bending their heads, because the military is not even there to fight them. And so they lose nothing in terms of material, or lose very little when fighting Boko Haram, as compared to what they lose fighting Ambazonians. They lose tanks, they lose armor cars, they lose weapons. Boko Haram does not steal their weapons from them and run away now. And so you find that it is so well tailored to suit the narrative of government, to show that actually whatever thing we call Ambazonia, or what they call it Anglophone revolt, is something so minimal, it's something which they are handling. That's why you find people who support them. Anybody who has influence, the church, they go out with a narrative. Life is returning to normal. Is returning to normal. Schools are opening. You find them pretending in the north and south, what they call it, to construct roads, the wrong road, the road to Mondemba, wherever they are doing. And they tell us the same story. They have been telling us that northwest and southwest suffer the same problems with all provinces, but we don't find them investing similarly in the far north, in infrastructure, even pretending to. And so they try to hide a wound that is getting rotten, which is Ambazonia, and expand what is not really relevant. The regime, the Boko Haram, does not pose any threat to the government. It poses a threat to the free inhabitants that live. What is the threat that they pose? It loses, they see their children, they take their cow and buy it. And so if you want to continue about this human rights report, you see the human rights groups come there and work on the dictates of government, their priorities. So if you hear the United Nations coordinator sitting there with them, you tell them what they want. They are working on what the government reports. And so what are they reporting? What is the United Nations giving all this money for? To help them in the war. Who are the people who are supposed to benefit first? They are not refugees. They are internally displaced, because the money for refugees, they are not hosting refugees. If they have money for refugees, they go to where refugees are hosted, for example, in Nigeria or in Ghana. But the money the government gives them is to deal with the local people, the cause of the effects of the war locally. What is the main effect of the war locally? They are the internally displaced. As we speak, we have thousands of Ambazonians in Bafoussam, in Douala, in Yaoundé, as internally displaced. But does the government of Yaoundé have a single record of how many people are internally displaced in Douala, in Yaoundé, or in Bafoussam? They don't keep those records. Rather, they seek to show that they are not even internally displaced. I saw a report this morning from Bonaberi, from Douala. The internally displaced from Bamenda, from Boya, all those areas affected by war, who fled to Douala, and they were barely trying to survive. They rent space along the roads, put containers and sell bread, sell whatever thing they can. When they go to sleep at 10 o'clock, the council comes there with bulldozers and pull down those things at night and destroys everything to make people not beware they are even internally displaced. I saw them. There was if you listen to Equinox News, people were crying. We came from Mamanda, we came from there, we came from all these places, paid even money to put these small bamboo things on the road to sell bread. And while we go to sleep, city council of Douala, the mayor, they come with bulldozers, caterpillars, and pull down those things. So they don't want to have any record of internally displaced. So whatever money the international community gives them for the internally displaced is shared among them. They steal it in a way. They steal the money. And that's what it is. They don't have what they have in Boko Haram. Those who have fled and come to Marwa or to other town up there. They are not refugees. They're just internally displaced. And so the government can handle them. How do you handle internally displaced? You provide for them where they live because they are within your country. If they're in Walla, I could identify them. Give them space to live. Give them financial assistance to buy food and eat. Provide for them health-wise until the situation improves. Then they can go back to their different homes. That's the general rule about the internal. That is how the government is giving, the international community is giving money to the government. But as far as we are concerned as Ambazonia, they don't do anything for us. I stand to be corrected, but I don't need to be corrected because I know that I'm very, very right. There's no record of our internally displaced in Bafusa, which is next to Bamenda. There's no record anywhere in the governor's office, in the prefect's office, for the internally displaced who have fled to Douala or to Yaoundé. If you flee to Douala to Yaoundé, if you have a cousin, a brother, a sister there who can house you, so be it. If you don't have, you stay in the street. You get sick and even die, using your corpse. You will not say, well, this was an internal displaced person. Not talk less of giving you even quinine. So there's no provision for that. And so, again, the whole idea of the reporting and the action they take is to show the world that there is nothing wrong in the northwest and southwest, they call it. That if there's nothing there, it is a problem they can handle. Again, today, if you saw what happened in Douala, in Bunaberi, what was the reaction? The deal came there. That's the Mr. the Prefect. He can say, give me his hands. He said, okay, we'll take care of it. And he goes him away. He did not even, there's no record, there's nobody there right now. It happened yesterday. There's nobody there recording the people who are complaining. You say, where was your hurt? Where was your bamboo table where you were selling your bread? Nobody is taking records of all that. So it is political manipulation of the external community. It is manipulation of our own people. And yet, what interested me most from the Douala reporting, they interviewed some of them. And what were they saying? They would say, what is what they have done to us? Then one woman went out to say extraordinary that, well, all of us standing here, thousands of us here, we have all registered to vote. In other words, they are prepared to go and vote in an election in a foreign country to change their government. I don't know who told them that going to vote for Kamto or anybody there is going to change their plight. It's not going to change anything. So they have brought this intoxication into the heads of our own brothers and sisters. People don't see far. They are going to report. They are going to vote. If they could register you to vote, when did they register you as an as a internally displaced person? Where were you registered? Nowhere. But they'll fight to come and register you as a voter because your vote will help them win power. And so that's as far as I can say about that report and the human rights intervention and why it is so poorly reported. I'm not sure that the reporters intentionally want to destroy us. Their work is just to report. But they cannot report without the assistance of the home government because they provide them security to go to where they want to report. And officially, the Yaoundé regime has banned them. Officially, not even pretentiously. They have banned reporting. They will not take you to Bamenda. They will not take you to Batibo. They will not take you to Guza. The prefect will handle it and send a report to Tanganji, which report will summarize things are going normal. And it will depend upon their bishops, archbishops, pastors, or whoever they find there. They say, well, these are credible people, these are church people, they are talking from the side of God. Life is going back to normal. So what do you want us to do? You tell the international community we have nothing to do. Life is going back to normal, so don't disturb us.
Okay, so Barrister Tim, yes, speaking of the speaking of the blame on this report, the inaccuracies with the report, do you think it's solely for of the La Republique's government, colonial government's restriction, or do you think that the international community as well can still do more in spite of the La Republique's government restriction? Are we saying that the French Cameroon cannot be sanctioned like we see them do with other tyrannical governments?
No, I think when you say international manipulation, doesn't sound very good. Most of the international human rights organizations don't belong to governments. They might be hosted, they might be headquartered in the United States, in France, anywhere in the world, but they are not the property of that government. And you remember that those international reporters, organizations, they make their money from reporting. And if they report badly, they lose because they are funded by different organizations to report. I'm not saying that all the reporters are angels, but they, as organizations, they don't have an interest to tell lies because often, at the end of the day, the feeder we've seen, for example, the Ngaribu incident, for example, what happened in the found out that when they killed that woman and her 2 or 3 children, they have admitted, thanks to the reports of the international press. That's why they have since refused to go back to allow those people access. A credible international organization want to do their work and get credit for doing it. So they don't have a particular interest to hide the facts. Though a few of them can be manipulated, but it cannot be generalized as such.
Okay.
Somebody can go to Kambe and on return he meets a Tanganji somewhere on the right, gives him 100 million. That's not his money. The guy might bend the report. But overall, they have no interest in underreporting. But again, they will not report independently. They have to report correctly if they are doing it independently. But since there must be a company, if you went in an armored car, would you prefer wherever to Batibo, to Guzam to report? They have to carry you there, ensure your security, and bring you back. The chances are that the guy who carry you there can influence you what you write. That is possible. But overall, as an organization, they don't, because if they were reporting, it would not be one organization. There were several organizations, and there will be competition among them for accurate reporting. Because it's the accuracy in their reporting that brings them funding. They're not funded by governments where they are hosted. No, they are funded by different organizations. Though they might be based in France, the French government is not the one funding them. They might be based in the United States. It's not the United States government funding them. And so that's overall what it is. Again, it's possible to have some of them a little bit corrupt, but overall, the government in Yaoundé has made it almost impossible for them to give the report that they required. If you read their reports, you see somewhere they mention that where access was so difficult. And so often they depend on talking to people, interviewing people, internally displaced, refugees. They find you in Nigeria, but why did you escape? What are you doing here? Say, where they came and burned my house. How many of you were there? 20 of you. You interview 3 or 4 people to be sure that what you are saying is correct. And so they depend essentially without having the ability to go on the spot because they are prevented from doing that. The government can either tell you not to go there directly, or the government say, okay, just go there by yourself. How will you go there by yourself without security? That's a war front. So the government has so many tools to manipulate international reporters and to get some result, some reporting which is similar to what they want. Because they would counter, well, these guys talk to refugees in Nigeria or in Calabar. But they are just lying. The prefect went there. The commander went there. And so that would seem to tamper what the report is saying. Unless we have something to counter it. A country that cares for human rights, who understands the difficulties of those organizations. Remember, when we started this thing, 4 5 years ago, there was the Aya Foundation. Aya Foundation was doing human rights. They were helping refugees, giving them food, giving them medications. But what happened? Yeah, they simply banned Aya Foundation. That by giving them medicines, by giving them food, they were promoting rebellion. And since then, Aya Foundation has not been in the field. Aya Foundation was not depending on funding from Yaoundé. They were getting funding from somewhere else, sympathizers, human rights lovers. But Yaoundé simply banned them, apparently because they were doing a good job. Secondly, perhaps because it bore the name of Aya, the person they detested, the person they want to see dead. Over to you.
Thank you, Barrister Tim, for that in-depth analysis. Only do you have any question in this regard?
Oh, well, we have so many other reports that he would need to contribute. So I think we should move on to the next report. Choayaba is trying to do something. So let's get to find out what he's trying to do.
All right. All right, well, looking at this report dating back in February, Undaunted obtained a voice message from a subordinate of EFAG advocating for a 1 month lockdown in honor of the late EFAG, known as Big Number. According to that audio that we brought to you on Undaunted, the 1 month lockdown period was dedicated to mourning the late EFAG, who had quite a controversy. And it was supposed to start from March 4th and end on April 4th. Well, during the president's exit draft speech, he recounted the words of purported Amazonian leaders expressing a preference to harm each other rather than confront the enemy. Now, this sentiment not only spoken by these pseudo Amazonian liberation fighters, but they were acted upon. It has caused significant distress among the Amazonian population, with some individuals who masquerade as Amazonian leaders exacerbated the suffering of Amazonians by collaborating with CPDM members during elections, orchestrating the death of genuine fighters, imposing excessive taxes on the already struggling populace, all to undermine the Amazonian cause and favor La République instead, while deceitfully professing allegiance to the Amazonian struggle. And of course, hearing such fallacious proclamation of these 1 month lockdown by the ADF to the detriment of the people on the home front, the government fully restored, led by President Samuel Ikome Sako, concluded that such lockdown was dead on arrival, especially for a man whom the Amazonian government considers a huge letdown to his people. But what's surprising is the reports getting to Undaunted about the Guzan market, that La République du Cameroon proxy militia, the ADF, through their headman Choyaba, has called off the ban on Guzang Market in Batibo local government area. Now we're wondering, how is closing a market that serves the common man helpful to the Amazonian quest for freedom? Oh, well, this question should only be to those who still think of the ADF as genuine, because it is obvious it is not in any way helping the struggle or the people on the home front, but instead causing more suffering to them.
Well, truly, I agree because the aim of the ADF is not in line with anything that aids the Amazonian quest for freedom, but paradoxically, anything against it. Reports reaching Undaunted has it that the Guzen market, which has been banned from opening for a month, is set to reopen on Friday, April 19th. This is a piece of information that the people of Batibo and traders in Bamenda will receive with a lot of happiness. It is a piece of news that brings relief to those who had Guzang markets as their main trading markets. The news on the reopening of the market was posted by an account of Tribe on his Facebook page, which has been disputed to be his cloned account. The ADF declared the Guzan market banned from commercial activities after the Peswedo General Efang was killed by the La Republic to Cameroon colonial forces as he was no longer useful to gang. A month of mourning was declared by his gang members, and as a consequence, the closure of the Guzang markets by them was what they thought was a better way of mourning.
Well, for the period of 1 month when the market was not functioning, the villagers were stranded with the harvest from their farms as they had to sell them and afford other necessities but had no market. Traders also who buy from there and supply to the town of Bamenda were out of business in this 1 month. All we get to see yet again is another terrible action of the ADF against the people of Ambazonia to cause more suffering on the population. The ADF seems to always think of new ways to either frustrate the struggle by giving it a bad reputation and doing things that could cause potential retrogression for the struggle or directly cause pain on the already suffering civilian population on the home front. The last time it was imposing tax on the same people on the home front who were grappling with the consequences of the war, and now it is aiding La République with making Ambazonians face the brunt of no markets by forcing the innocent populations of Guzang to go a whole month without business. Well, we hope as the market, according to this report, reopens that the Amazonian State Army on the ground protects the civilian population from further assaults and pseudo amber forces. Well, taking a look at another report of interest, the La République du Cameroon colonial administrators who are hypocrites when it comes to the declaration they make in public or before the press as the Amazonian War of Liberation is concerned. These loyalists to the octogenarian, well now nonagenarian dictator Paul Biya are always shamelessly declaring that things are returning to normal in Amazonia when funny enough, these fellows are refugees in the colonial town of Yaoundé as they cannot go back to their villages due to the result of the insecurity and the state of their various villages. Intelligent findings have revealed that in their in-camera meetings, they are honest with themselves. So they look each other in the eyes and tell themselves the truth. This is the case with the colonial security evaluation meeting held in Bamenda by colonial top military officers, where Colonial General Buba de Bekro affirmed that the northern zone is still very hot. Now, why can they make such an acknowledgement publicly?
Well, the colonial commander of the 5th Joint Military Region, General Buba Debekro, has reaffirmed and affirmed that the northern zone of Ambazonia is still very hot. Well, he would agree that this is a honest declaration that is contrary to the hypocritical declarations of other politicians. Well, this colonial general made this truth in a security meeting that brought together what they tagged as top colonial military officers of La République du Cameroun to Bamenda on the 16th of April 2024. According to them, the objective of the colonial meeting is for an operational control and security evaluation, and of course, to strategize on pushing the agenda of the celebration of the 20th of May in the northern zone of Ambazonia, which we know is not supposed to stand. Though the meeting was on camera, the declaration of Colonial General Buba never missed the recorder of the intelligence unit of the Ambazonian interim government. Well, this declaration, though coming in front of Colonial Month, is a booster to the Ambazonian State Army in the northern zone of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Well, since they already have noticed them, I'm sure that the ASA know exactly what to do. Well, we have a very important message from the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Let's take a listen.
Fellow Ambazonians, fellow Southern Cameroonians, and especially our Ambazonia State Army, Ambazonia State Armed Forces. This message now for all week. I want to make you no forget anything what they talk for this message for you. Make you no forget one line of what we are talking. Because we get the following thing the way if any man do for inside Ambazonia from today is a crime. That one a total punishment where that person must get. Matter of fact, the community will decide whether a capital punishment or na which kind of punishment. But na crime. That means if you do any of these things, then from this day forward, you are a criminal according to the law of Ambazonia, and we will deal with you appropriately. That means according to number one, for be a member of any political party inside Ambazonia, unless political party where now the government of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, NAI give them authorization to operate. And to the best of my knowledge, we never accredit, we never authorize, we never give legal paperwork for any political party for operate inside Ambazonia. So for you for belong to a political party where it be authorized by the colonial genocidal government is a crime in Ambazonia. Whether not they call it a CPP, whether they call it a LDP, whether they call it a CPDM or a SDF, for you for belong because na colonial party than that, because they be authorized by the colonial government. For you for belong to any political party authorized by the colonial government, you commit a crime of treason. Number two, to support a political party inside Ambazonia is also a crime of association. That means that you don't associate yourself with criminals, therefore you are a criminal. Number three, all election matters inside Ambazonia na capital crime for Ambazonia. Na crime. Na number one bad for inside Ambazonia where it be na treason, because that means say for register for vote for Ambazonia, anybody where they carry a card where they call and say voters card or you register for vote, that person na criminal, in name na criminal inside Ambazonia. You are a criminal. If they search you, they see any voters card, let me say you are a criminal. Criminal number one, committing the crime where they call and say treason for inside Ambazonia. Let me say number four, to organize a political campaign. Man call you say, no, we organize, no, carry this team, one go make buy higher tent for here, and so on, one go make political campaign because the one can make campaign. It's a crime in Ambazonia. And to attend the political rally inside house or outside, you will dress for go attend. You are a criminal. Why they pay you now 1,000 francs, 500 for campaign for attend? Whether it be wear uniform or not be wear uniform, for you for go attend any political campaign, you be a criminal by association. And also for you for register, say you want stand election, maybe you want be candidate. The moment you give your name for inside to the colonial government of La Republique, say you want be a candidate for a political party where you go run for that election where organized by La Republique, you are a criminal. If your name just day for day for that list, you are a criminal. You commit the crime of treason inside Ambazonia. You will share political poster. They want check your phone, you share them, you put someone them for your motor, you gum someone them for road, you throw someone them for road. If they catch you where you share political poster them or t-shirt them, just say you share them, you are a criminal inside Ambazonia. You be a criminal. To be part of any political convoy, they come, you say you want drive go for matters them for go or you want drive go follow them for road for bring them. You be part of a convoy. They go, you follow them on motor. While they give you now poop funga for your motor, they say you carry them. Maybe you follow them as a convoy or follow them come back. Or the hire on a motorbike, they say no on a big convoy on a go for part of the campaign. To be part of any political campaign convoy, whether not by bicycle or not by taxi them or a motor them, is a crime in Ambazonia from today. At the one make we understand say we get two countries, two governments. Yes, just like if you carry a political campaign for La Republique, carry and go for Ghana, and you drive all over the place where the Ghana government no authorize you. Now so too it for inside Ambazonia. La Republique, they can't bring their political affairs inside Ambazonia. No. And the one office where we don't already wipe out, they again for inside Ambazonia. If we catch you, you call yourself, say you be part of that office, you are a criminal number one. That means say elecam or that people the way they say that they organize election. Every elecam official, every elecam office, every elecam bureau in Ambazonia is a crime office. It's a criminal office. It's a place where criminals gather to commit crime against the state. That place no need for exist again for throughout Ambazonia. And anybody will go present himself anywhere as somebody where they come for can organize election, that person is criminal number one. ASA wanna make sure say if you get way for enter, you know get way for come out. We don't ban the activities of Elekam. We don't ban the activities of their workers. We don't ban their presence inside Ambazonia. From now, this month of April 2024 to December 2025, anybody will go against this rule, this law them for inside Ambazonia, well, the Ambazonian people, they go show you who own the land. And make no talk say you be my brother, so you go break the law, you be alright. No talk say me and you be go for the same school, so you go break the law, or you be my neighbor, or be my countryman, or you talk English like me. Therefore, you don't break the law, no bad. When it happen for you, you say no, we follow our own people then, we torment our own people then. No break the law. Because punishment is bad now when it punish the innocent. But you don't hear the law today. If you go do this thing, then we don't talk, say no electioneering inside Ambazonia. If you do and they catch you, that one they call and say torment. They call and say punishment for crime. The word to the wise is enough. If you get a brother, you get a sister, you get a mommy, you get a papa, you get a pikin, where they be involved in any way, in any kind of politics inside Ambazonia, just tell it, say stop committing crimes against Ambazonia and stay safe, because no man will come for you if inside this matter you be innocent. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, President Sako. I'm sure that the message is well received and well understood. Well, we have Barrister Tim Bessia in the house, and I'm sure that he's ready to expatiate on this message from the president and also the last two reports we just gave. Barrister Bessia, ahead of 2020. Yes, go ahead.
Ahead of 2025, the message, though in several paragraphs, is only one. Anything election is banned in Ambazonia. Because election implies many things. Registering to vote, carrying voter cards, attending political rallies, being voted into office. All these activities which are concerned with elections, you are advised and strongly advised not to participate. Because they are not part of us Amazonian. Even if you participated as a Cameroonian, be in Douala or anywhere, you're not going to change any results. The results that will come out are what Paul Biya wants. So for Ambazonians who have been fled out of Amazonia with the hope of ever coming back to their own country, you are advised not to take part in any of those things. Don't vote, don't be voted for, don't register to vote, don't carry voter cards, and vice versa. That is the message from the president. The other two reports that came in deal with lockdown and they deal with essentially Guzan market. I think we have addressed that many times before. What is the reason for the lockdown? We can only go forward and say that I hear, I've not read this, that they've ordered another lockdown in Mezam. Maybe tomorrow, I don't know. They've ordered one. And what is the reason for the lockdown? Be it the one in Gozan, that closed Gozan market, or the one in Bamenda. It is said that they are locking down to mourn their fallen soldiers. Yes, those their soldiers were all criminals in the first place. Officially, they died in the hands of the Republic of Cameroon. They died in the hands of the army. And so what would a reasonable person do? You go to avenge the killing of yours by your enemy. Could the people in Guzan or anywhere in Momo have been held responsible for the death of Efang? No. What must they pay by not going to their market, by not going to their farm or whatever they want to do? Because Efang is dead. Even if Efang was the best soldier there, even if Efang was fighting the Republic and died, why would the people close down? Oh, this is to live because Efang is dead. Or why would somebody, what they call it, chair, somebody who died somewhere in Bafur, somewhere in Bamenda there, caused the whole locking down of Meza simply because he was an ADF fighter? What's the revenge? Who have been avenged his death? In Momo, there are many military camps. In Meza, there are many military camps. They bypass them to go punish the population. They are the allies. One would assume, and I have reason to think so, that even the death of Efang and others people they claim were their fighters, if you trace it out, they kill them because they had to use them enough. Because there's no doubt across Ambazonia that at least 70 to 80% of our people now realize that the ADF and its acolytes and its leadership, we call each other, but only one working for them. They are not fighting to liberate Ambazonia. They are fighting with the Republic of Cameroon. That's always been the thing. We've always said that. But it does not dawn on everybody. Everybody can see it with his or own naked eyes. It's not something for you to doubt. And so our people don't have to suffer. If they are saying that they're opening Guzan market, I'm sure that's propaganda. They are not opening the market. If the market is opening tomorrow or the next day, it is because they are no longer even there, because they have not apologized for what they did. I think if the stories are true, the ADF is virtually non-existent near where Batibo is or near where Guzang is. They are not there. They are not there to force anything. They are not there to open or close any market anymore. So they have ceased to be relevant. The public has realized, those who are housing them, those who are dining with them, have now realized that these people are just the enemy. And so that is that. I think the most important that you get there, what we should deal with, is the report from the security meeting that held in Bamenda. Well, he said, remember that these meetings are held in closed doors. They're not open. The briefing inside are closed door meetings. Whatever thing they come out from there and say is what they're authorized to say. You could not walk in there and take part in it. They are closed. But if the general, Buba, could come out there and make the declarations he made, that is telling. There is admission of defeat. But that's not even all. There are other reports that we probably have not seen. I went through somewhere. I saw Smith. All of us know who Ellie Smith is. Ellie Smith is the one who has been with them forever. Ellie Smith is the one who has been taking money, buying our fighters to go to the DDR, saying that everything is normal. As late as yesterday, I saw Ellie Smith somewhere in one of his platforms. What was he saying? He was saying, well, the DDR and the things that he stood for have failed. And that this message that politicians send around, that everything is returning back to normal, is just false. That they need to go back to the drawing board. Those were his own words. And that if they doubt him, Ellie Smith, let any politician call it Anglophone, they call them Anglophone politicians. Then we are one day, going to parliament or sitting there and doing something else, civil servants. They don't take their cars and drive to Nkambe. They don't take their cars and drive to Ndian without a policeman guarding them, without being in the military armored car. And so this is public admission of failure. But shall we expect Yaoundé to come out publicly and admit that they have been defeated? No. But they are bleeding from their own general. That's a man, uniform guy, commanding the whole unit of their own region, saying what they're saying. And can you link this to the story we had earlier? International human rights groups, the reporting, the idea, the attempt to make it look normal. They have failed, and they are meeting it indirectly that they have not succeeded. They have not succeeded, they are not succeeding, and Ambazonia is succeeding. If today, 8 years after the war started, they are able to stand in the big city of Bamenda and say the things are not going well. If Pobia is alive, even if he's dead, he has advisors. He should to go back to the drawing board, because he had told us in November 2017 that the war was going to be over in 2 weeks. The war was going to be over in 2 weeks. 2 weeks has turned into 8 years. How many 2 weeks combination are in 8 years? At least 60 something together. So they are losing the battle. They have lost the battle. They are losing the battle. We have to keep them bleeding. It is the bleeding that will force them to go look for a negotiated way out, not press releases. When they go to press, they are going to make the propaganda. They will always do that. Propaganda is part of warfare. You tell lies to convince the public, to convince those who still support you that you're still living. And so that is them, but they don't doubt that they are bleeding. They themselves have admitted it many times. Their agents, Ellie Smith, they have admitted it. Their people. I don't even see Ngala Gerard, who thought that his Nkambe was untouchable. He has not been saying anything. He simply keeps quiet because it's not passing. I've never seen since he was out there. I doubt if Mr. Diangote has ever attempted to go to Indian where he's supposed to come from. How many times has he even gone to Kumba, which is 60, 70 kilometers away from India? So is it just happy man to live in Yaoundé? No, they are bleeding in themselves. They are bleeding. And so what the president says and what we're doing, we should be focused. They are wounded, they are bleeding, and if you don't tie the wound, you bleed to death.
All right.
The only way to minimize the loss is to stop the bleeding by bandage on their wound. And that bandage will not be put until you go to the con without any precondition.
Yes, very stand base here. When you were talking about President Sako, I had this question in mind, but I wanted you to just finish so that I don't take the words out of your mouth. Now, we have seen President Sako from time to time using understandable language. Let me say, even the pidgin language, the pidgin English. We think that it is a down to earth approach to reach the crossroads. Do you think these efforts have been fruitful so far in terms of parsing the right information to the people across the globe, not just on the home front?
Oh, no, we don't care about the group. The communication in one episode, I said, choose your audience. If this message is meant to be for Ambazonians, who include your mother, my mother, your grandfather, your grandmother, and all these people back home, the universal language that they understand over there is pidgin.
Okay.
Nobody will look for any interpretation. They get it direct. And we can afford ourselves, I in particular. We don't have to come and sit here blowing grammar for the past 1 hour, thinking that we're getting there. Yeah, so they listen to it. But if we were able to organize other programs, which are essentially pidgin programs, it might be useful. The president is right on point. The message goes, if you violate those instructions, will not do it because he or she did not. Now, the message has been sent. Almost every villager, every woman who goes to sell plantain, because they don't come to buy plantain, you come to buy granite, speaking how much you sell them now. I will pay like this. So everybody, you don't hear. We don't go for pidgin. I think say all man don't hear. I think we President don't no need for repeater. I feel only add my own from my own pidgin say, don't want not mind the thing where they come, where governor they talk. Want not mind the thing where general they talk. That wound in the handbook them. It bleed. It not be as easy as they talk.
Yeah.
But when Professor Lennox told us, said, don't let your enemy define you in this struggle. Now the people will tell we say, na so day. We go for tell and the people say, na so day. Because they're not for one country. They would feel the pain. They started this thing. If you say they want kill we know, yes, they have done their best. Many of us, they don't die. But they too, they don't die. They don't lose a lot of their military hardware. We don't lose OT, we don't lose cutlass, we don't lose spear. Now we don't suffer more. Don't go take loan. We can't fight this battle. We never take loan. There's more money we go for $2, $5. We still fight on that one. We never get there where we'll pay after this war. So you will find some all man in here the thing where they talk. If we talk for pidgin, it will be wonderful. And I will be happy if ABC, if it launched some pure pidgin program. Well, they will invite Mami them, they'll come for the talk.
Yeah, we have. We have already,
so
but that might not be sufficient. But we have pidgin news already running.
Okay.
You may want to check it out and also see what we have there. But then,
Okay.
since I've already cut you short here, now let's move forward to the Momo County and Chuayaba's continuous imposing himself on the people who have probably, should we say, rejected him at this point. Now, the continuous cry is beginning to sound like, a broken record. Is there something the government of Ambazonia, county, and maybe local government authorities are probably not doing to stop the colonial government's proxy armed group on the ground?
I think say may I tell you one for preaching. There's very little where the federal government fit do. The problem with Momo and Batibo and all of them put together. Now say they get a chunk of traitors where they did for outside and they did for country. That man, that Chuayabawoti group, they no go do nothing for Guzan, they no go do nothing for Batibo. It did not be they get support for Batibo picking them. For Guzan people, them where they did outside, where they support them, where they did for coup plotters. They no go do nothing for ground. If they not get some papa where they support them, they no go fly for they no get wind for take fly. They work on them for food. They drink water for road. They chop. How they fit explain say if the story be true? For that batty where they get the whole he where they go thief cow, they can't feed them for day. That cow not run like mutono. Cow they walk like small. So this government will help them. Provided say they lead the thing. Now them go sure we say now that road they pass, go meet up for Choya by a come that. It will not be there for sure with the road. Nothing not me if you do, you fit do. If you land for day, maybe you go land for Batibo town or for Guzan market. The fighters they all come from market, they go. So if you sleep in Guzan market for the whole day, you not find them there. So the thing what happened for Momo, I say, we have a lot of Momo loyalists for this government. But we also get a chunk of Momo traders outside there, where they stay for United States, where they stay for Germany, where they stay out of the country, when they're the champion this thing. Because until this thing don't happen, we don't be repeatedly, and I don't follow it. Now you hear people like Mbakuro coming out to condemn it. Mbakuro coming from Momo, no? That they don't make sure you're about their ally forever. That they may be for Canada together, no? And all these things. They were kidnapping people there. They were harassing people in Gojang market. So now Momo people, but I think at the same now they rise against that nonsense. So not to know they were if we go do them externally. Because now guerrilla warfare, we never raise some army where we would transport them from Victoria, they can drive for them. Or where we will transport them from Banso, can put there. Until someone they were we show us for that house they sleep. When they talk they do for bush, they did not do that for bush. They did not for people in their house, they go their own building. They know it's sleep inside rain. Maybe some houses don't be abandoned, but they still want some money house. So we only call on the Momo people to take the lead, and then they will get the support where you and me, where we all will give them. Take the lead. If they take that lead, they have no remain there even for 48 hours. Because the president and this government, they be prepared for give them the fullest support. But now them will take the lead in intelligence and in other forms of support before we go eliminate them once and for all. And also, again, to those Boko people, those Momo people who have been traitors. Well, these people don't suffer most. Now, when papa, now when mommy, now when all relatives. Yes, I feel so bad. But I should not feel worse than you. Let me go to the street of a good market. When I brother don't know, I don't know he. But now when I brother, I know the papa, I know the mommy. So if I not feel the pain, how do you expect me to feel the pain more? So that's my own opinion. I think that them give for stand for front. Now where the cook brought herself, where they be the support you Oyaba. They don't turn on him. Make it come join, we make join together, and then we'll put an end to that nonsense once and for all. We will not restore independence. We will not restore our state. An election come, a formal election. If you go campaign there, win if they can win. But I doubt if any man will ever vote them for the if they think about what they did to them in times of distress. Over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Mbesia. We'll definitely, get back to you. We have some other reports. We have this report about the toll gate. You would agree with me that in some other climes, some of them do not use toll gates anymore. Yeah. But, in Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia, the toll gates are there and they're not even used for the right purposes. But we'll give you that report and one other report and definitely get back to you. I mean, Nambere is also in the news for tonight. So we'll get you the toll gate report.
Speaking of the report on the toll gate rather management in La Republique, toll gates in the Cameroon so far have been an apology dating back to history. It was advised by Frundi in the early 90s as a way to enable the government, just like it is in other climes, to make money so as to develop the different constituencies and modify the environment. Revenue generated from the toll gates are generally supposed to be used for development, especially road projects. But then we already know that we do not have roads in Ambazonia, not even market to farm roads. So, what's the use of these toll gates? According to reports from the survey conducted, it brings to mind that there is a bad colonial system instituted in the southern Cameroons, as if that wasn't obvious already.
Well, all across the world, toll gates are for different purposes, especially for development. But in Amazonia, there are no roads, or there are roads that are not developed. Taking money from people all the time and not using it for the function it was originally meant for is simply fraud. From the survey, we discovered that there is this toll gate between the Batoke and Ideno in the southern zone towards the Atlantic region that they would rather call the southwest region. Now, from our survey, we discovered that they collect 500 francs when no one, or when you are going to the Ideno and collect 500 francs when you are coming back, even if you spend just 30 minutes wherever you're going to. Mere passing the toll gate, they take such an amount. Now, questions we asked the collectors, those collecting the money, and we noticed that they were unsteady because they were panicking. We asked very severe questions.
Well, he was asked which treasury branch he was collecting the money to pay into, and his reply, Southwest, in his words. Then he said, even if it's Southwest, you should pay under sub treasury or divisional treasury. But then his reply was Boya and remain quiet. But we know that if he is truly sent by a treasury, department, it means he has to pay into the Idenau sub treasury or Victoria Divisional Treasury and not Boya as claimed. But then this is only to show that La Republique has really infiltrated into Ambazonia and has made them pay a price for results they never get to see. This is one of the reasons why It just goes to show how the La Republic has been defrauding the people, manipulating and siphoning the little that they have from them without any intention of building any form of infrastructure. The more reasons why the Ambazonia struggle continues to free the peoples of Ambazonia from such fraudulent embezzlement, absolute corruption, and give them a home that they truly deserve and have suffered for. Well, taking a look at this other report, it still talks about the lawlessness in La Republique.
Well, it could look impossible or even unbelievable elsewhere, but nothing is impossible with La Republique du Cameroon in matters of fraud and corruption. A report in 2023 has marked La Republique du Cameroon third in corruption. Well, Undaunted just got the information that a certain prisoner, Roger George Junior Lamb, was sentenced to 30 years in the Kondengi maximum prison by La République du Cameroon's corrupt special criminal court for his role in the pilfering of 347 million francs CFA from the Ministry of Economy and Finance. Lives his good life with the complexity of the Punimax, director of Kondengi prison in Yaoundé, to whom the sum of 2 million francs CFA is handed over to him at each of his outings, permitting him to take the plane for his tour of the world. Well, last December, the prisoner went to France with a French passport to spend Christmas with relatives. He was sentenced in 2019 by the Special Criminal Court to 30 years in prison in Kondengi. The man is working quietly in Europe like a free man.
Well, this just goes to show that La Republique is indeed lawless. The story goes that the prisoner Georges Junior Leap, as well as all other high-profile prisoners of La Republique, frequently feign illness in complicity with the prison director, medical doctors, police stations, and commanders of the city of Yaoundé. A sort of simulation giving rise to medical evacuation at the central hospital in Yaoundé that ends at the Yaoundé International Airport in Simalane. And this is how it goes with corrupt La Republique du Cameroon, a country where corruption is a mainstay, a country where people act with impunity as if they were strangers, a country void of accountability and transparency in the management of public finances, and no one declares assets.
While in Kondeg prison, these embezzlers are given red carpet treatments. Some organize weddings right inside there. Some go out at will to supervise their businesses and construction sites. Many of the ministers and directors of in the Kondengi play the same game like George Junior Leb and have gone for good like the former Prime Minister Ephraim Inoni. The Kondengi maximum prison is more or less a rest home of a transit point for La Republic Cameroon's high profile prisoners. Only those who have stolen probably chickens and birds and mere pickpockets are left to die there. What a sad situation.
Well, before we get back to Barrister Team, let's take a look at Namberi in the UK. That is also a shock to many. Nanje Leonard Nakiri Nambere, a former frontline fighter for the cause of Ambazonia's freedom, has been spotted in the UK, raising questions about the complex dynamics of the conflict between La République du Cameroon and the Ambazonian Liberation Movement. Originally championing the fight against what he saw and what truly is the oppressive occupation by French Cameroon, Nambere's path took a dramatic turn following his recruitment into the DDR, what is known as the Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Center, a program led by Kruger Colonial Minister Paul Atanga Nji. The La République du Cameroon's format of the DDR program, which is ostensibly designed to facilitate the peaceful reintegration of, in the words, ex-combatants, has been criticized for effectively being a tool for the colonial government of French Cameroon to weaken the Ambazonian liberation movement through co-opting its members, the freedom fighters.
Namber's transition from a fervent freedom fighter to a government ally fighting against his former comrades illustrates the intricate web of manipulation and coercion that some allege the colonial Cameroon government employs to suppress the Ambazonian aspiration. His recent appearance in London, purportedly facilitated by the Republic of Ambazonia, according to Mimi Mefo, adds another layer of complexity to this story. Questions abound regarding his current um, allegiances. Is Nambere still operating under the influence of La Republic to Cameroon, or has he sought asylum to escape the very forces that once manipulated him into defection? Furthermore, his presence in the UK raises speculative concerns about the potential collaboration between the governments of La Republic de Cameroon and Ambazonia, a scenario that could further complicate the already strangled conflict.
Well, as the Amazonian struggle for independence continues, the case of Nanje Leonard Nakiri Nambere serves as a poignant reminder of the murky waters of loyalty, manipulation, and the fight for freedom in the face of overarching control. The international community remains watchful, hoping for a resolution that respects the rights and aspirations of the Amazonian people. Well, Barrister to Mbesia, we would like to hear your view on this particular matter. Barrister to
I
Mbesia.
think,
Yes, please.
yes, let me start with Mr. Nambere and say that it is a mistake for us to describe him here as a fighter, even though he wore the uniform. Nambere, he had long since left the struggle and shown that he was never even a fighter. When he posed as a fighter, a lot of money was sent to him. Nambere stole the money. Just audios here. When questioned what happened to the money, he'd say he took it for his salary, for his wages. He did not hide the fact that he stole the money. So he was just a pretender from day one. Then Nambere sold out to Nkongo in Nigeria, because he lives in Nigeria. He sold out to Ellie Smith, collected money, and purportedly hiring our fighters to go to the DDR. He himself went there, he went to Yaoundé as a leader, as a man that chose him to represent them, because he had convinced our fighters to go to the DDR. He went there from his own words. He went to the prime minister and said, give me money, because you can only help me if you let me go to the United States or to London. I have his audios here. And then the prime minister said, okay, I've ordered that you should be giving money. Go to chief of whatever thing, chief of staff, whatever thing, call his name. Go and they will give you the money. He went there, they never gave him the money. In Congo, I saw that Felix. Now, Nambere went back to Nigeria and made more audios and said the prime minister has deceived him. If the prime minister cares for him, you should send him money and help him go to London or to the United States. Put it down there in writing. And that he didn't even have a passport. He wished that Diongute makes a Cameroon passport for him and send it to him in Nigeria so he can travel. So Nambere has been out of this struggle for a long time. And so now we see his picture in London. His picture in London is not alone. Prior to his picture surfacing there in London, there was a broadcast by Capo Daniel, what he called his podcast. I listened to him myself, not somebody who reported to me, where he said that, according to him, he, Capo Daniel, and his own team have been going to London to negotiate for peace. That we, Ambazonia, have accepted devolution, and he is the leader of the team to devolve. And I went to London last time, and the British were telling that Nambere was still coming. They were waiting for Nambere. That's what Capo Daniel said in his podcast. According to Capo Daniel, he did not like Nambere. So he was reporting to Ambazonians that were showing his success. I've been going to London to negotiate this thing. At this point, I've suspended it because they have said that Nambere is coming. I don't like Nambere to be in my team. But nonetheless, Nambere surfaces there. In London, we see his picture there. We know he has been out of the struggle for long. We know that he has been asking Dion Guto to help him go to London or to the United States. Is he the agent? It looks like. Is he trying to negotiate something? It looks like. Because on that report of Namberebe in London, they have come out with the fact that he's being sponsored by ROA. ROA stands for the Republic of Ambazonia. It's one of the groups that you have not heard their name, but they've been there since the late 1990s. It is good that was supposed to be standing out there in the place of Gonka. I've attended meetings with RA. The RA leader here, the United States, is Edwin Gang. Edwin Gang is a husband to Manga. They would know her story very, very well, where she ended up sending out arms. She was caught, she pleaded guilty. I don't know where she was finished at J10, but that's their connection. ROA is a front group that has been claiming to stand out for Mr. Goji Dinka. We've attended meetings with Edwin Gang, who started representing Dinka and calling himself ROA, the Republic of Ambazonia. Is it possible that it's being done? It is possible. Because at this time and before now, the Republic tries to create their own groups. Since this struggle started, I've not seen Edwin Gang or ROA feature anywhere. But it has been there. The structure called ROA has been there. So it's possible, highly possible that Yaoundé, because we don't know how Mr. Nambere went to London. London is not leaving the Kondo Treaty and going to Nigeria. He needed a passport. He needed a visa. But between Nigeria and London, it's not a visa-free country. He says, according to him in his own report, he has been living in Nigeria for a long time. A very long time. And he has Nigerian passport. That's what he said. But he didn't have a current passport. So how did Mr. Nambere find himself in London? How is he linked to ROA of Edwin Gang? How did he find his name with Capo Daniel negotiating team with whoever in London? So there's a lot that we don't know, but there's so much to suspect about his presence. But what we should not suspect is that Nambere has been long away from the struggle. He's the one who took, who bribed our ways, our boys. He and Sosos in Congo, they took a flight from Nigeria to Yaoundé, to Simalene, as heroes who had convinced boys to abandon the fight and go to DDR. They gave interviews publicly about that. And so he has been working with the Republic for a long time. There's no doubt about that. He has never been in the struggle again since he gave up. We didn't know him. But better, he was a good worker. We gave him money. He stole the money, and with his own mouth, he said he used it for his wages. And so that is Nambere. Let us keep a watch. But even without keeping a watch, who in Ambazonia believes that Nambere, with or without Capo Daniel, will negotiate an end to the Ambazonians' war with the Republic of Cameroon? If you think so, you're seriously mistaken. Then the next part of your report was dealing with the toll gates. See, toll gates, the idea, it was just an idea.
But before you
Was to
get
raise
to the toll gate, Barrister Mbesia, now let's just ask you one question about the DDR and their Tanganjis model. Now, Barrister Mbesia, this simply places a concern on La République de Cameroon's format of the DDR. It's clear that Atanganji's model was to make recruits like Namber to aid the colonial army. Do you agree? If
Of
yes,
course it was.
explain to us how.
It was. You see, and from Nambere himself, in his last audio, the DDR thing has failed. Because according to him, he was supposed to bring more than 1,000 fighters to the DDR. He took a few in their first fight. This is him reporting. He went to Yaoundé, they purported to put these guys in the DDR. They have been so badly treated that most of them have escaped. So the mission for which he was recruited has failed. So the idea, because they knew that, because they had set up this DDR routine, with the idea of luring our fighters to lay down their arms and go back to so-called DDR, wherever they are. And then they recruited people to help them. Among them, Nambere and Success in Congo in Nigeria, because there were so many refugees in Nigeria. Their point person, their lead person in Cameroon, in Yaoundé, in the Cameroon government Yaoundé, was Ellie Smith. There are videos and audios where they're asking for money from Ellie Smith. Give us so much. Ellie Smith was talking with them. So as far as that is concerned, that was the goal of the DDR, to lure our boys there. But as of today, 8 years or 7 years into it, it has wholly failed. Those who laid their arms down and purportedly went there have not had what they were told they would get. They've had nothing. The authority from there is being used as a lead person to show where the Amba fighters fight from. What Yaoundé did not know, because they seem to be so dull, is that a camp, an Amba fighter, a restoration force position where they are, they don't remain there forever. That number, they will come there 6 months after, 1 year after, and say they were here and they're still sitting there. That's why I think has failed. But that's what it is. I wonder if this answers your question.
Oh, well, it does. Share your thoughts on the toll gate, please.
Yes, I was trying to say that the whole idea of toll gate, the idea, not the practical thing, the idea of toll gate was to raise money, and money from toll gates all over the world goes to the maintenance of the highways, because it's a highway tax. In the United States, where we are, you choose to go on the toll road. There are so many roads. But where you go on the toll road, you go faster because there are fewer cars. And you pay the toll, the money is accounted for and used to develop the roads. Cameroon toll gate system was not like that. They called it toll. It was a place to raise money, one, and to steal the money. I was in Boya when the toll gate thing started. I had friends who were working in the Ministry of Finance who bribed their way to go work with the toll gate because it was manual. And you talk about Batoke. Many people have forgotten that Fako is a very small place. But there are 2 toll gates in Fako. The one you found on Tico Douala Road is in Ambazonia. It's not after the Mongo. It's in the outside of the territory. That's toll gate number 1. From there, you do 25 kilometers in Tico. You do 10, 15, you do another 10, 15 kilometers in Nimbe. And they go to Batoke. And there's a toll gate there. The road to Batoke is a road that is going to nowhere. The road to Batoke on Batoke, it was a road that was meant to serve Sonora because Sonora is on that side. Where you end in West Coast, you end at the ocean. It's not going to anywhere. So except a few tourists that go there, nobody is passing there. But whatever is the case, whoever collects money from Batoke, whoever collects money from Chico toll gates, the money is to be cash. It doesn't matter where the money is paid to the treasury in Victoria, whether in Idenau or Boya. The practice is they come from Yaoundé with their trucks and carry the money hard cash to Yaoundé. They don't leave a dime there to say, well, this money was collected from Victoria, just go and fix the Victoria streets. They don't when you take it to Yaoundé, they don't use it for the roads. Otherwise, how will you explain if you look at just the news in the zone? Their best towns, their biggest towns are Yaoundé and Douala. They are the towns with the worst roads in the world, in the whole world. So why are they not even fixing the roads in Douala or Yaoundé? So the idea of toll gate was to raise money for development. But the practical thing is that the money raised from toll gates, half of the money is stolen. Half of the money is actually goes to private pockets because they bring the money cash.
Mm.
And people like Lep, the guy you saw there, who is seen walking down the streets in Europe, they take the cash. That's why, again, if you follow the news in Cameroon, the people they call thieves, they are not thieves keeping money in the bank. You go into minister's house, you find rooms upon rooms of their houses with cash standing there in boxes, raw cash, boxes of money. Part of which is collected maybe from this toll gate if it happens to be in the Ministry of Transport or wherever it is not even there. If they carry the money from Boya and they're going to put it in the treasury in Yaoundé, they can't say 500 million. By the time they get to Yaoundé, 10 million will go to the treasury. They take cash, give the minister this, give this, and the money goes. So it was an orchestrated thing to steal. It is still to steal. As of today, they claim to have made toll gate automatic. But there's absolutely nothing automatic there. They claim to have given companies to be that thing, get themselves paid, and they make profit. Now, you still drive your car and stand there, you pull out 500 francs. If you don't want to pay them 500, you can give a bribe of 200. You pay nothing and then we car. So it's any tax they put in Cameroon, 3/4 of the tax, if not 99% of it, is theft. That's why you find in labs that you saw there. And if you're okay with that, I can address the prisoner walking free in Europe.
In Europe, yes, please. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what you are finding there is nothing new. In Yaoundé, the main prisoner they have, which they call Kondingi, is divided into so many quarters. They have the senior civil service, senior servants of the prisoners, high class, who are lodged somewhere else. They have everything there, including their cars. They bring their wives and sleep with them there. These are the high class people. These are the lebs. And so, when they say the same to prison for 10 years, 50 years, it's a joke. Because with that money, they know why he's there. Why are they going out? He cannot just go out. The prison administrator cannot make a passport and give them. If you get them a passport, you cannot give them a visa. If they see them going to Europe, going to anywhere else in the world, it's government sponsored. Why are they doing this? It may sound like double standard with other prisoners. No, these are prisoners who retain the secret of the administration. If Mr. Lep stole money, a billion, if he's accused of stealing a billion, you know how much disappear on the road before he got a million? It's a chain. They take the leader, pretend to send him to jail, send him out so he keeps quiet. Because if you were to come back and tell the story, it will be more than the lab. It will be more than, he might have been director, but before the director, there's a chief of service. Just like the toll gate. By the time they take 10 million from Batoke every evening to the treasury in Victoria or Boya, they must have collected 20 million. They have eaten 10, divided among themselves. I said my friends resigned to go and work in the toll gate. What was the reason? There was so much money coming out of toll gates. Private money, 10 times more than their salaries. And interestingly, my friend who wanted to go there, he got there, he married his second wife because he became richer than ever expected. So everything Cameroon that goes to collection of money is theft first, poorly planned, but officially government theft. That's why I have never seen the opportunity to describe what is in Yaoundé as administration, from the court messenger to the minister. They are a group of licensed armed robbers. They are criminals in the first order. I only wish to get out of their grip, finally. And if they can ever be reasonable in that country, those people will stand trial. They are not people who can loot the treasury more than the caliber of politicians who have there. They are thieves, stealing in open daylight. I just saw one of their reports where they gave Mr. Tanganji, despite all these difficulties in the country, he becomes the leader of the Hajj, who will go and give money for people to go to Saudi Arabia. He's not even a Muslim. The Muslims have not asked for the money. They give him 50 billion, whatever amount they give him. He goes there, he stands there, pay cash. Oh, you're bothering to pay, give 1,000, and give 500. The rest is in his pocket. There's no theft more than that. Over to you.
All right, yeah, Barrister Besia. Yes, that you have Mungwa's audio.
Oh, yes. It's actually a voice order from Dr. Martin Mungwa, which would like you to react to right after it plays right now.
Payment method: www.abcambertv.com/donate. ABC Amber TV payment channels: Cash App 202-2216, Zelle 202-650-2216, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. PayPal donations at abcambertv.com. For more details, call +124 028 43 111. You can email us at info@abcambertv.com.
Alert, alert, alert. This is Dr. Martin Mungwa, Secretary of State for Communication and IT for the government of Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. I come for when I forgive when I run down of events the way it happened for the home front and for alert everybody of the new measures where criminal La Republique du Cameroon they try to play over with. First of all, I want to congratulate all Ambazonians and all members of the Ambazonian State Army. We the win. I want to repeat them. We the win. We did now on the diplomatic front, and we did do very, very well. This war now war for win, and we don't already beat La Republique du Cameroon. I want to make it very clear for una before I tell una the message I want to give for una today. The reason be say, make people they not make small mistakes then. Mistakes where you will hurt themselves, you will hurt their families because we did get to the finish line very, very soon. When I remember say some time ago, I be tell when I the news about this picking the way La Republique du Cameroon can fool them, take them, send the one go give them work, take them for Kudaba, train them, bring them back so that I mean they try for track with people they for kill them. And of course, if we end up with the fact say La Republique fail, they discover said those measures they need to work because we'll be able for pick up and we intelligence be very, very good for pick up this information. And it will be an extension of what will be happen for Ebeko for monthly when they will go kill these people them using the people of a DDR. Now, what it don't happen now being I say things them of course work and they try for exploit with ex-fighters and those that when they get issues them probably get issues with their commanders they try for use mad people them when they go for off licenses this one that be they go disguise like mad people, they beggars, and then you go to try for harass people. When they try for ask you some money, you know, give then they'll talk something where you'll probably vex say something and then they'll come pick you up. Okay. So this one are the tactics when they use it now. So we wanna be very, very careful. Those the when they check say their lives have been as for even to go for off license. When I be prepared for me, these so-called mad people when I beg us at the same time. But I want for tell when I say this one, these guys, agents for La Republique and be soldiers that they do this kind of thing. The other people that they try for exploit them, now backriders where they probably get disagreement or they will get disagreement with their commanders them. So they try for exploit them. So that means they try for trace the path the way with soldiers that they take them. And this one be very important. And I want people to understand these people where when I be disgruntled when I commanders, when I feel say when I'll sell the future for Ambazonia because of that anger, when I did go on a very dangerous path because neither Ambazonia or La Republique will ever accept una. They will kill una at the end of the day. When they don't take that information from you, they will kill you. This not a new thing. If it happened for Eritrea, it happened for East Timor. All those Eritreans, when they begin to collaborate with Ethiopian government, when Eritrea get independence, they become stateless. Wherever they go, they become criminals. So I just try for warn all Ambazonians and today. If you get a personal issue with any of your commanders, that will not give the right to go sell Ambazonia now just because of your little heart when it don't break. The future for Ambazonia, it be far more important than our own personal agonies. We not define that because we not get problem with neighbor. We define them because the future of Ambazonia be very important. The same thing will happen for East Timor. Those East Timorians, when they need to collaborate with Indonesian government, when they get independence, they become stateless. They don't get any place to go. I want to make it very clear for all these backriders where when I don't decide take money for La Republique for go show so-called places where the Ambazonian state army there. When I play a very, very dangerous game. And this game, when I know a winner, when I lose, La Republique will lose, and when a family will lose. So we wanna be very, very careful. And I tell when I get for be situational awareness. Look, we don't reach for the time now where I want to make me Ambazonian population know say this war with the winner. We there on the winning path. So many people do not make stupid mistakes the way you put themselves and their families in jeopardy. Because very soon when I start see how things they become very, very clear. La Republique be on knees. La Republique, they don't know what to do. They don't categorize La Republique, say that the most polluted country on earth, number one polluted country on earth. Why? Because of negligence. Why? Because they don't get money. Because they on their knees. This one of the people where we get for even try for be together with. So all these people, when the backriders or disgruntled people, or these people did go for off license for night, or they try for create unnecessary problems for themselves. Muna be on the watch out because the future of Ambazonia it be assured, and your personal grievances enough it come between you and Ambazonia. So I'd give out this warning, and me man not talk say nobody don't hear because I be sure say everybody will hear this message where they send it out today. Okay, so once again, I want to congratulate all those fighters where they don't stay for the belief say Ambazonia deserve a place in the world. And also Ambazonians the way they don't make sure say they not fall the trap for La Republique du Cameroon. Thank you and have a blessed day.
Barrister Tim still in the studio. Well, from that audio, from the alert from Dr. Martin Mungwa, you get to see that there's so many aspects he addressed in that short voice note, especially talking about the DDR, amongst other things he said. Barrister Tim, I think this is the last thing we'd like you to react to just before we let you go.
Yes. You see, Dr. Mungwa delivered the message. I think everybody should understand. But the illustrations are better for self-explain what he's saying. The government of Yaoundé, we should call it, uses infiltration. Uses people who are disguised. When you are in an off-license, they can get here. They bring these sweet stories. You're just talking with your mouth. You're just talking. You're not carrying a gun. Oh, you're just talking. Well, I enjoyed that fight downtown there, in Frontier Street, wherever. Oh, these Amba boys are strong. They catch you for just sympathizing. They take you away. Those are signs of desperation. Because it's not you have been sorry for being appreciative of a fighter. That started the war in the first place. So they use this method. They make themselves crazy, pretend to be drunk, pretend to be insane, to get just mission. And then they take you, not to go and do anything, they take you and go and kill you for being a sympathizer to the struggle. That's just all about it. And then they have even gone further than that. They pay you to infiltrate for them. They buy their own bikes and give it to you to be a bike rider. Or they pretend to give you gas, 3,000, 2,000 to put 2 liters of gas in your car, in your bike, and carry them. So you can go around and hear if I talk evil about them and catch them. These are signs of desperation. But he has sent the most important message that we should take home. We know they are doing all this. There are people who are collaborating with Yaoundé to set the course. There will come a time that you have no hiding place. Collaborators in every war are enemies. And we are so many of them who pass for CPDM administrators, who pass for CPDM politicians, call them MPs, call them councillors, who go and show where our boys are fighting from. Well, your days are numbered. It is not a threat. It has been known all over the world that that's what happened. He has given examples, but the nearest example that is the United States. The United States went to fight Pakistan. What were they fighting? They were fighting the Taliban. The Taliban are just civilians. The Taliban know how to fight, but they didn't have any uniform. They just started people. They carried their guns. And so, in order to defeat them, the Americans needed to get Afghans themselves who cooperated with them, who would say that is one of them is carrying a gun. That's where they are hiding. And the Americans killed them and killed them until they were tired. They found that they were never going to win the war. The Americans, when the enemy is going away, they are not going to tell you. They just pack the raven and say bye-bye to you. The person was helping him. Them. So the Americans, and they were, because they decided within 48 hours they're leaving. The people were helping them among the Afghans. Say, oh, you're leaving us here? Say, who do you want us to take you to? You're not part of us. And they left them there. And guess what happened to them? Most of them were just murdered for having been friends with the enemy. That's mighty America. This, Afghanistan, just a few years ago. The next living example that we would like to hear was Israel and southern Lebanon. In the 1990s, Israel came and occupied southern Lebanon to fight Palestinians who were fighting Nigeria, Hamas is doing now. And when they occupied southern Lebanon, in order to succeed, they needed Palestinians who were living in southern Lebanon, who would cooperate to show them those who were Hamas, those who were this, those who were this. And they showed them. They remained there for 20 years. They were unable to defeat the Palestinians there. They decided to pack and go away. And one good morning, they packed their things. When they packed, they destroyed the cars that they cannot go with them. Any heavy equipment, they destroyed. They enter into what is possible and run away. When they were running away, these cooperators, those who were cooperating with them, started to follow them. The Israelis turned and said, you don't follow us. You're not Israelis. Your job we got you for is over. You cooperated with us. We gave you food. We paid you. But we cannot admit you in Israel. They were pushed back at the border. They fell back in Lebanon, in the hands of people they cooperated to kill. Guess what happened to them? Almost most of them died, lost their lives. They were cooperating with the enemy. Would this happen in Ambazonia? I can guarantee you 90% it will happen, at least if I'm still alive. Those of our brothers and sisters who are using the platform in Yaoundé to betray us, unprovoked war that they brought on us, and thinking that they would, at the end of the day, just recoil and be safe. Now, Ambazonia will be more dangerous for you at that time than Yaoundé. So if you're doing that, stay you there and be sure you don't come back. Because we already know, we know most of you. Who doesn't know? Who doesn't know all this? You will not be spared. You will die when you're cooperating with the enemy. This goes across the board. Be it a politician, an honest civilian, a religious leader. If they perceive you as an enemy, you die. And I end this on this religious leader thing. During my mission to Gitega, to Burundi, during the genocide, Burundi is highly religious place. I was stationed in a town called Gitega. That was a Catholic town. The bishop, they had an archbishop there. I think he was suspected for cooperating with the other groups. When the war broke out, the first person, the Archbishop of Gitega, was the first person to be murdered. So there's no hiding place for you when you are cooperating with the enemy. In the cloak of the military, wearing a military uniform, as a trader, as a politician, or in other capacity. Life will be so hot for you. Life will be very, very dangerous for you to live there. And so I think that's an important message because our brothers and sisters who are in Yaoundé, they've forgotten one thing. Whatever thing we are going through now as Ambazonians, this war was and is still unprovoked. We were just talking. We did nothing. We hurt nobody. They came, they killed us, they killed our mothers, they killed our children, they burnt our houses. We became homeless, childless, motherless, parentless. And then one of us will be cooperating with the enemy. Now, so hard for you. That money you're getting out of it, you will not even live to enjoy it. And if you have children, if you have families, you better advise your parents who have lived that way. Not everybody will have the opportunity to repent. So those who are cooperating with Yaoundé to kill us for this unprovoked war, for them, it was probably just better that we lay down all our truths are cut. Because what did they expect us to do? When they came with helicopter gunships and started killing people, when they came into the village and burned the place, what would Misangala, I always like to call his name, what excuse will he give for coming down to Garibu and killing children, mothers, and everybody? Is there nothing wrong with that? You cooperate with them. You pray. The good luck you can have is to die before the end of this battle, because you will not have a resting place. And you can only pray that the vengeance should not spread to your own family. Over to you.
Well, thank you, Barrister Mbesa. You've really given in-depth analysis to all of the reports, not just this voice note from Dr. Martin Mungwa. I think we'll end this session by agreeing with what Dr. Martin Mungwa said, that Ambazonia is indeed winning and it's putting La Republic under pressure. Thank you once again for joining in on the show, Barrister Tim Mbesa.
Thank you for having me. And good night.
All right, good night. With that, we'll get to the African reports. Well, in Burkina Faso, the military government has kicked out 3 French diplomats accusing them of doing sneaky stuff. These diplomats, including 2 political advisors, were given 48 hours to leave the country, but the details of what they allegedly did were not shared. Well, this situation is making things even more tense between Burkina Faso and France since the military took over in 2022. The junta has already expelled French troops, brought back their ambassador, and suspended some French media outlets. Some sources are saying that the expulsion might be connected to meeting the diplomats had with members of civil society. The junta in Burkina Faso has been criticized for cracking down on freedom of speech while dealing with security challenges from militant groups linked to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State. The French Foreign Ministry hasn't said anything about this yet, but the recent expulsion of French diplomats by Burkina Faso military government could have a significant impact on the diplomatic relations between the two countries. It has already strained the relationship with previous actions such as expelling French troops and suspending French media outlets. This latest development adds further tension, and the response from the French Foreign Ministry will be crucial in determining the future course of diplomatic relations between these two. The expulsion of French diplomats by Burkina Faso's military government can also potentially impact its relations with other countries as well. Such actions can be closely observed by the international community, and depending on their perspectives about it, It may influence their stance towards Burkina Faso. Other countries may choose to express support for France or take a neutral position, or it could strain relations with Burkina Faso if they view the expulsion as unjustified. The consequences on bilateral and multilateral relationships will largely depend on how different countries interpret and respond to this situation. So far, it's safe to say Burkina Faso, in its right to choose whom it has diplomatic relations with, is safe.
Human-induced climate change responsible for the deadly heat waves, while there have been really high temperatures in West Africa and the Sahel, including Mali. It's been so hot that it has sadly led to hundreds of deaths. Researchers are saying that this extreme heat is caused by human-induced climate change. Last month, temperatures in Mali went above 48 degrees Celsius, and Gabriel Touré Hospital reported 102 deaths in early April, especially amongst older individuals. Scientists believe that if it weren't for human activities like burning fossil fuels and deforestation, the temperatures would have gotten so dangerously high. Well, according to a study by the World Weather Attribution Group, climate change has made temperatures in Mali and Burkina Faso up to 1.5 degrees Celsius warmer than usual, with night being 2 degrees Celsius hotter on average. They are warning that heat waves like these, which used to be rare, could become more common as global temperatures continue to rise. However, the severe drought in southern Africa earlier this year is more attributed to the El Nino weather phenomenon rather than climate change. While millions of people suffered from hunger due to crop failures and water shortages, which led to cholera outbreaks, researchers say that El Nino, not climate change, primarily influenced the low rainfall in the region from December to February. These findings show that the relationship between climate change and extreme weather events is complex, and scientists are stressing the need for urgent action to reduce their impact.
Although thousands displaced as part of East Africa suffer from destructive floods. While still on the recent disasters in Africa, we have heavy rains and flooding being causing a lot of trouble in East Africa. Well, it's really sad to hear about the lives lost and the thousands of people displaced in Kenya and Tanzania. Residents are going through a tough time. Livestock have been lost while some people have to deal with rebuilding their home every time it is destroyed by such disaster. And it's really devastating. Assistant Chief Augustine Neto Awich mentioned that 646 households have been displaced in Kakola, Ombaka, and many are seeking refuge in evacuation centers or with relatives on higher ground. The situation is dire across the region, with Kenya reporting 13 fatalities and Tanzania recording 58 deaths in the past 2 weeks alone. The infrastructure has been severely damaged, making things even worse. Authorities are urging people in flood-prone areas to move to safer places as the rains continue. The Meteorological Department in Kenya had issued warning about heavy rainfalls, but the impact is still significant and is really important for coordinated disaster response efforts to help those affected and protect vulnerable communities.
Meanwhile, the UN Secretary General urges increased focus on the situation in Eastern DRC. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights visited a camp for displaced people in Goma and appealed for more attention to be given to the situation. Thousands of Congolese have been forced to flee their homes due to the conflicts between the Congolese army and M23 rebels. It's one of the worst displacement crises in the world. People in the camp share their struggles with living conditions and ongoing violence. The commissioner wants the international community to pay more attention to this tragedy.
While Britain's contentious plan to send some migrants to Rwanda hits a hurdle in Parliament, the UK's plan to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda. The House of Lords introduced amendments to the Safety of Rwanda Bill, which caused a delay in its passage. The bill aims to facilitate deportation flights to Rwanda as part of Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's strategy to stop migrants from crossing the English Channel. However, there are legal challenges and critics argue it's unethical to deport migrants to a country they don't want to live in. But the bill is still expected to become law most likely next week. And with that, we head to the Global Report.
Meanwhile, news across the globe, Saudi Arabia and the UAE has refused to open their airspace to Israeli and American aircraft as they sought to intercept missiles and drones launched by Iran last Saturday against the occupation state. Well, according to the Wall Street Journal, Arab officials noted that the two Gulf countries did, however, exchange intelligence with the US and Israel, which contributed to the success in repelling the Iranian attack. Riyadh and Abu Dhabi have tried to remain neutral regarding the region conflicts in the Middle East, the reports claimed. Jordan, meanwhile, announced that its armed forces intercepted flying objects that entered the country's airspace on Saturday night to ensure the safety of its citizens and residential areas. During its session on Sunday, the Jordanian cabinet reiterated and affirmed that anything posing a threat to the kingdom's security will be intercepted, whether by air or by land.
Well, on to Russia, an influential global body has forecast Russia's economy will grow faster than all of the world's advanced economies, including the US, this year. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, expects Russia to grow 3.2% this year, significantly more than the UK, France, and Germany. Oil exports have held steady and government spending has remained high, contributing to growth, the IMF said.
Meanwhile, overall, it said the world economy had been remarkably resilient. Despite many gloomy predictions, the world avoided a recession. The banking system proved largely resilient, and major emerging markets economies did not suffer sudden stops. Well, the IMF is an international organization with 190 member countries. They are used by businesses to help plan where to invest and by central banks, such as the Bank of England, to guide its decisions on interest rates. The group says that the forecast it makes for growth the following year is most advanced economies more than that not have been within about 1.5 percent points of what actually happens. Despite the Kremlin being sanctioned over its invasion of Ukraine, the IMF upgraded its January predictions for the Russian economy for this year and said while growth would be lower in 2025, it would be still higher than previously expected at 1.8%.
On the Gaza war, we have Qatar reassessing its role as a mediator between Israel and Hamas. The country's prime minister has said this. Qatar has had a key role along with Egypt and the US in trying to secure a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas and the release of Israeli hostages. But Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani said Doha had been exploited and abused and was being undermined by those trying to score political point. He also said the current peace talks were in a delicate phase. Attempts to secure a ceasefire have been delicate and largely unsuccessful, but the links Qatar has with all sides, including close ties to Hamas, are regarded as crucial to achieving any breakthrough. And that is all on the Global Report.
Well, that's all we have for you on tonight's Undaunted. Before we go, let's take a look at the major headlines.
Well, on Undaunted tonight, I beg your pardon. We took a look at the misrepresentation in Human Rights Report as the Human Rights Report indiscriminately juxtaposes the Boko Haram's terrorism versus Ambazonia's liberation and the toll gate that were instituted initially to foster economic establishment but now are used to manipulate and defraud Ambazonians. We also took a look at the man sentenced 30 years in Kundegi prison for embezzling a whopping 347 million francs CFAs, the colonial currency that has now been found walking quietly in Europe.
Well, tonight on Undaunted, we talked about the ADF's aids, La Republic du Cameroon in economic sabotage of Ambazonia. Also, in a colonial security evaluation meeting in Bamenda, General Buber has acknowledged that La Republic du Cameroon security disposition in the northern zone is being fragilized. Well, we also had some African reports and also on the foreign scene. And that's all we have for you on tonight's Undaunted. On behalf of Smart and the entire Undaunted crew, we say thank you for tuning in.
We're leaving now with ABC Amber TV images. Good night and God bless you.